Hey y'all, Southern Style Gaming here, and today I want to talk about some of my favorite theories from the Harry Potter books. Now, um, just a fair warning here, most of these theories are going to come from like other YouTube theorists like Super Carlin Brothers or Seamus Gorman. But yeah, I love the Harry Potter books. I haven't watched the movies in a while, but like I remember enjoying them before I started like getting into the books because delivering mail, I just listen to them. I usually listen to them at least once a year, but I mean, I just think, they're not like the most technically well written books. There's plot holes, there's some obvious issues with it, but at the end of the day, I think it's great world building. The characters, while I wouldn't necessarily call them like complex or well written, I think a lot of them are very relatable. I think they're written sort of simply. Obviously these books were mostly meant for children, so obviously they're going to be, not the most complex of characters. Their intentions are going to be pretty easy to understand. Their motives are not going to be all that complicated, so I think they're going to be like very relatable people. So, with that said, this is going to be my top 5 favorite Harry Potter theories.
I also offer ready-made drafts for all manner of uses, and I unveil new ones
So,
right
at
now.
number 5, we have the theory that much like Voldemort cursing the Defense Against the Dark Arts position at Hogwarts the day that Dumbledore turned the job down to him, we have the theory that Voldemort cursed the day of Halloween on the night that the spell rebounded from baby Harry and destroyed Voldemort's body. Now, the evidence from this is pretty circumstantial, but I think it's actually quite believable if you look at it. Like, it might be just a little bit too much to be a coincidence, because throughout the first 4 years, Sorcerer's Stone, the troll, breaks into the castle. In Chamber of Secrets, I'm pretty sure that was the night that Miss Norris was petrified. Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the first time that Sirius Black broke into the castle.
Thank you.
And then in Goblet of Fire,
Farewell for now.
of course, on Halloween night, we have Harry's name coming out of the Goblet of Fire. However, after Voldemort gets his body back, nothing else really happens on Halloween. All of a sudden, it kind of becomes irrelevant. In fact, I don't even remember anything that happens on Halloween in Order or Half Blood Prince. I mean, obviously, Halloween gets just straight up bypassed in Deathly Hallows because, like, all the weeks run together. Like, basically, from, like, September to Christmas is basically just, like, one big, just kind of time blob. But I think, there's a good chance that Halloween really was cursed by Voldemort on the night that baby Harry destroyed his body. So, yeah, that's my number 5 spot. Now, number 4 is actually a theory of my own, one that I just kind of came up with in my head, I guess. But, so for those of you who know, like, sort of the more deep cut, like, Pottermore type stuff, James' dad, Fleamont Potter, was actually diagnosed with dragonpox in his later years. And he actually died, if I'm not mistaken, shortly before Harry was born. But it's never specified when he was diagnosed with dragonpox. And it is my belief, everybody kind of says that James, like, he really matured and straightened up in his 7th year at Hogwarts. It's my belief that his reason for doing this was because of the diagnosis, because he wanted to make his dad proud while he still could. Now, of course, his dad was a bit on the older end of age anyway, just because like James was like a late life kid. But still, I think that this diagnosis and James knowing that he really didn't have a lot of time left, he wanted to straighten up. He wanted to really get things right so that way, he could show his dad what kind of man he was going to be while Fleamont was actually still around. I think he really wanted to just buckle down, make his dad proud, And I think that dragonpox diagnosis is the reason why he became such a better person in his 7th year at Hogwarts.
Well, this isn't a good match at all, is it?
Now, with the number 3 spot, I actually don't remember where I originally heard this theory, so pardon me on this one, but it's basically the theory that Dumbledore used the Elder Wand to repair Hagrid's wand that was snapped in half when he was expelled during his time at Hogwarts for being suspected of opening the Chamber of Secrets. Now, basically how this theory goes is that Dumbledore either got Hagrid's help on something having to do with Grindelwald, or Dumbledore just knew Hagrid was innocent, and so upon gaining the Elder Wand, he used it to repair Hagrid's wand because he had been wrongfully accused and expelled for opening the Chamber of Secrets. So, of course, we know that broken wands don't work that well. I mean, Ron Weasley's wand in the Chamber of Secrets is pitiful, and I mean, it's still technically kind of together. Like, Hagrid's wand was straight severed in half. So, you know, I don't know how, like, the magic of wands work, if, like, the unicorn hair or the phoenix tail feather or the dragon heartstring is actually, like, physically cut in half. I don't know if it would still work or not at that point. But the theory goes that Dumbledore used the Elder Wand to repair Hagrid's wand and also disguise it as the pink umbrella, of course. And that's basically how that one goes. And I just love how this theory sort of, you know, brings Dumbledore and Hagrid that one step closer. Because, you know, Dumbledore always gives Hagrid a little bit more trust than people think he should. And I think that this would be, you know, sort of that, you know, seal on the deal type thing that would show, yes, Dumbledore absolutely does trust Hagrid. And he always has. Now, theory number 2, posed by Seamus Gorman, would propose that prior to the Battle of Hogwarts, when Harry, Ron, and Hermione are brought into the house of Aberforth Dumbledore, he actually spiked their mead with liquid luck. Now, who knows how Aberforth would have got his hands on some liquid luck? It's very possible that Dumbledore just gave it to him beforehand, knowing that it might very well come in handy. You know, maybe Snape sort of slipped it to him through some sort of backdoor way without the Death Eaters noticing sometime during the year, knowing that Harry would likely show up and that Aberforth would be a very good candidate for, you know, one of the people to find him and actually give him refuge in Hogsmeade. So basically, there are several passages from points during the Battle of Hogwarts that really do seem to mirror that time when Harry took it during the 6th year and went down to Hagrid. Times that's like, well, I don't really know why I'm doing this or what the purpose is, but I know it's going to get me where I need to go. And, you know, there are some times where Harry takes some stabs in the dark and it ends up paying off. Pretty much everything for the Golden Trio goes right. I mean, none of them are seriously injured at any point. They get through several scrapes, and I mean, come on, Harry literally defies death. And I know that's explained, but still, I mean, it's a pretty interesting thing to happen, you know? Like, there are so many times, and the one that I particularly enjoy the most is the fact that, like, Ron, who has always, like, sort of nagged Hermione about SPEW being a waste of time, he's all of a sudden like, you know, we need to get the house elves out of the castle. Just out of nowhere. And, you know, Hermione just absolutely falls over for this. And I think it's really a great moment. But I think it also shows that, you know, this is sort of an out-of-character moment for Ron. This may or may not have been the liquid luck talking. Because, I mean, we have a similar thing happen where Harry and Ginny, like, Ginny becomes available because Harry, like, accidentally brushes her shoulder or something, and she's like, Dean, you're always pushing me through the door or whatever. You know, it's sort of similar to that, you know, where it's just like the liquid luck is guiding you in your romantic endeavors as well as what you're actually trying to do. I just think it's really interesting how that works, and how I think this theory is actually pretty plausible, because I mean, you know, obviously they all drink the mead. I know in the movie it doesn't really show Harry doing this, but in the book it says they all drank the mead and ate the food. But yeah, I think it's a really interesting theory. I think there's a lot of supporting, at least circumstantial evidence. So with that said, moving on to my favorite Harry Potter theory. Now, at my number one spot, my favorite Harry Potter theory has to be the theory that Voldemort intended the Sword of Gryffindor to be his final Horcrux, and that he intended to make that final Horcrux on the day that he would have killed baby Harry if his spell had not backfired. Now, the reason why I believe this to be the best theory is because it explains so many things that kind of don't really make sense. And the biggest thing that it explains is why Voldemort takes so long to go after Harry. Because in the books, we know that Peter Pettigrew turns the Potters over relatively quickly. Like, Voldemort is aware of their location over a year before he goes after them. And that's kind of weird. Like, he knows where they're at, and it seems like he's just biding his time. And I mean, there's something circulating out there that's like, oh, well, it's because he just wanted to be able to blend in on Halloween night. I don't think that's a very good excuse. What I really think happened is that Voldemort was waiting for an opportunity to get his hands on the Sword of Gryffindor. And when might this have happened, you asked? The deaths of Fabian and Gideon Pruitt, Molly Weasley's brothers. Now, it's never talked about in the movies, but in the books, it's told that Fabian and Gideon Pruitt, on their own, took on 5 Death Eaters, and it was a tough fight. Now, of course, being Weasleys, well, not Weasleys, but, you know, Molly was a Pruitt, but, you know, they're like famously Gryffindor families. So, of course, Fabian and Gideon Pruitt were both Gryffindors, meaning that this show of bravery, courage, valor, honor could have possibly summoned the Sword of Gryffindor. And it's believed by this theory that this situation was manufactured by Voldemort to send 5 of his most powerful Death Eaters after these 2 renowned Gryffindors who are a part of the Order of the Phoenix. And they fight tooth and nail. And even though they end up going down, because obviously 5 on 2, who's going to win in that situation? But the Sword of Gryffindor may have just appeared in the midst of this fight. And of course, it is ordered by Voldemort to return that sword to him. Now, Voldemort, by doing this, would have a relic of all 4 Hogwarts houses as a Horcrux. And this potentially most important relic could have been made with the most important death Voldemort would have caused. Because Voldemort believed by killing baby Harry, he was basically getting rid of any chance that he would ever be taken down. But, of course, this all backfired, and thank God it did, because, I mean, the Sword of Gryffindor is basically like the catch-all here. Like, how would you destroy it? It's made of goblin metal. Literally everything it touches just becomes, like, another part of its arsenal. Like, the basilisk venom becomes imbued with it. You know, there are so many fan stories out there that, like, if it was to come in contact with fiend fire, like, it could turn into a flaming sword. Like, come on, how badass is that? But, yeah, that's got to be my favorite theory, just because it connects so many dots. I absolutely love this theory. I think that it explains a lot. I basically just said the same thing twice. But either way, that's it for this video. So just let me know if y'all enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments if there's any future video topics you want me to discuss. Leave a like and subscribe if you wish. I'm trying to keep these videos coming on a weekly pace on either Thursdays or Fridays. So stay tuned, and God bless. Have a great day.